Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon,
Good
ma'am.
afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma.
Good
Yeah. Good
afternoon, ma'am.
afternoon, ma. Good afternoon, miss. Good afternoon, sirs. We welcome back to the second semester of this program. So, with this second semester, like I've told you last week, we have 3 major compulsory and 2 different areas of focus, but we should try as much as possible not to go and pick someone else's area of focus to combine with ours so that we'll get it right. So, our focus with my class or my course is going to be on human resources management and why it's relevant in the field of social work. We all know that when we talk about social work, it's more or less of how to manage every individual socially within our environment. So within the course, we are to know the basic concept of human resources management. We are to also look at the functions of human resources manager in relation to management of different social work service agencies. We are also going to look at the effective use of human resources in social work institutions. We are looking at human resources theories, those that are relevant to us, and its application in social work services. So mind you, we are not treating all the human resources theory. We are only looking at the human resources theories that are relevant to us. So we could touch theories like behavioral theory and the ones that are very, very relevant to our field of studies. So we look at the performance management and the feedback generation from clients, where we will use social work services as a case study. Then we'll look at the areas of how it is very important in the field of social work to enhance our training, our knowledge, so that we could have a perfect output during the time we are engaged in different services. We also look at the leadership skills that are relevant to social work organizations. Then from there, we look at the organizational structures of some relevant agencies to us, and then design for effective delivery of services. So when we look at the structure, we look at how the structures are designed so that the services could be effective when they are delivering it. Then we're also looking at the influence this could have on the community and the environment or the society where those agencies are delivering their services. Then in this class, we are going to have a student paper presentation and interaction. So I want to know who our class rep will be for this semester. Who is going to be our class rep? If we are able to know our class rep, Samuel Akinwale, do we all agree with him?
Yes, ma.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma.
So that when he takes information
Yes, ma'am.
to us, we will not tell him that he's manipulating information. So let us all agree. If it's not by force, if we have another option, we can choose from there. But for now, if Akinwale Samuel is going to be our leader in the class, then we need to also have group. So, Mr. Akinwale, please, you are going to give us 10 groups. So
All
the
right,
10
ma'am.
groups, I will send your paper presentations to you. So please,
All
everybody
right, ma'am.
should know the group where they fall into. As we are doing each of our classes, some groups will be doing their presentations. And this
Okay,
will
ma'am.
carry some marks. And I will not take a situation whereby only one person will start the delivery of the group paper till the end. So I could ask questions in any from any angle within the contents of what paper we are delivering, and we are expected to participate fully. And we are not going to take an excuse for those who will say they are not around. Everybody must be part and parcel of their group whenever they want to deliver their papers. So please help me tell them in the students' chat so that they will note that.
All right,
Because
ma'am.
20 marks means a lot. If we can struggle for 35, 40 marks in the examination and then score 15 from the 20 marks, it means a lot to us. Because only 0.5 will let us rewrite the paper, and we are also going to pay for examination fee. So it is better we try as much as possible not to fall into that trap. So that's that about that. So let's look at the first content of what we have today, which has to do with the basic concept of human resources management. Many a times we look at human resources management as one of the few areas that needs concentration in different organizations. But then we should also play it back into our memory that while we were in the primary school, secondary school, when we are doing some subjects that has to do with production and some other things, we talk about human resources as one of the major things that could help us in production. So for this class, human resources management is one of the key thing to consider when we talk about service delivery or any other thing that we are doing in our organization, be it production or service delivery. So we should take human resources as one of the basic things that is very, very important in our different organizations and agencies as social worker, because if we don't manage the human aspect of our resources perfectly, we cannot also deliver a perfect services to those who are in need of that our services as our cost inclined. So human resources management is one of those key things that is very, very important to us. So we look at human resources management as a type of management that involves creating personnel policies and procedures that support our business objectives and the strategic plans we have for those objectives to materialize. When we talk about the strategic plans we have for our business objective or our service objective, we go back to look at the central nervous system of why we create such organization, which has to go into uh, which has to go into the missions, the visions, and some other things that is around the organization. Why do we create this organization? Who are the people we are reaching out to? What is going to be our input and what is going to be our expected output? So when we talk about this human resources management, those things should always reflect back in our memories, and we should always attach values to them. We should have values to them so that we will be able to empower our employees, and then we will prepare them so that they can deliver or render the services that is needed by them appropriately and promptly, without wasting much effort, without wasting further resources that is required, or we will look as a wasted effort at the end of the day. So human resources management will help us to manage all these things, and then we have a perfect result at the end of the day. So in essence, human resources management is looking at our effective inputs, our effective input to turn out a very required and sufficient output, which has to do with the efficiency, the struggle, the knowledge, the skills, the resources required of us to get those outputs. So that's the focus of a human resources manager in every social welfare institutions, organizations, agencies, or services. So we look at our talent, how we improve this talent, the services we are rendering, how we improve the services, how we make those who are in need of services to be very, very happy and be contented with the output we are giving to them. So in human resources management, we always look at the functions of the human resources manager, which has to do with the job analysis. We are going to dwell more on this. When we talk about the job analysis, we determine the skills required, the experience necessary to perform that particular job well, the people we are to hire to perform the job, and then the compensation that is required to give out to those who are on the job. Mind you, if you underpay an employee, you might not really get the required output from them. And if you also overpay an employee, there are also some disadvantages attached to it, even though it has its own advantages. So, apart from the job analysis, we also look at the workforce operations, that is the health, the safety, the policies that is required, the way we treat the grievances, how we work with different types of people, how a union is required, how unions should not be expected in an organization, the policies, the regulations, and how people will comply with all those policies and regulations so that both the employee and the employers will be very, very satisfied at the end of each day. Then we also look at the performance measurement. How important is the input of every of these employees? What can we do to foster or enhance their performance? What are the things that will allow them to grow constructively so that we have a very good feedback at the end of the day? And then what are the things that we will use to compensate these workers or the employees so that they will they will see themselves as putting in something, and those things they have put in is really being appreciated by the management, which has to do with compensation, promotion, and sometimes when it has to do with discipline, we look at the areas to appropriate the disciplinary actions, and sometimes if it warrants a dismissal, we could go ahead and do the necessary so that we don't spoil the good meal with just a single bad egg. Human resources manager also look into the issue of incentive programs, those programs that we could put in place so that we motivate the employees, and then they see themselves as one of the owners of the organization and put in their best and own whatever they want to put as if the organization is their own, and go in line with the objective of the founders of the organization and ensure that they are really doing the right thing at the right time. Another thing is the area of professional development. If we did not develop those employees, they cannot really give us the turnover that is required of them. So we need to give a very good development and advanced educational programs which will enhance their performance while they are putting up their respective duties. So with this, they will be able to put in their best because their memories have been refreshed. They have learned some other things from the training which they are not doing well before they go for those training. So they have learned some things and they are happy, they are eager to put in those things that they have learned from those new trainings to the organization. So we need to plan educational programs that will be very, very resourceful to our employees. So that's one of the functions of the human resources manager. Now, let's look at, when we talk about this function, we also look at the responsibilities that is attached to this portfolio, the responsibilities that is attached to the portfolio of every human resources manager. And mind you, this responsibility is different depending on the organization, and they are very critical because with such responsibility, we have an improved, efficient output from each organization. But if the responsibilities are not carried out the way it ought to be carried out, we might not be able to achieve the right thing as an output because the efficiency will reduce. And with that, we might not be able to have the real output that is required of us. Now, one of the responsibility includes staffing. Staffing, as it is attached to every department, for them to be able to tell us when they are short of staff, when they are in need of staff, when they want to grow, and some other things when they want to expand. So also it is the work of the human resources management to go out for advertisement, or even looking into the organization for some of the staffs that have been there that can be converted and used for some other things if they have the capability. So they are the one to look into the hiring function. They are the one to negotiate with those who are qualified, either by interviewing, by examining, and some other things, and also negotiate the compensations that is required or can be given to them by the organization. So once the agreement is struck by the two of them, then an employment letter is given to such person to start work before they go into some other further things that is required of them. Another thing is how we develop policies, the workplace policies, different policies to different organizations, disciplinary actions, workplace protocols, and so many other things. So as we are expanding in different organizations, we also expand and look into those policies, those regulations, which ones are still relevant to our organization, which ones should be struck out of the organization, and so many other ones like that. Then another thing is the area of payment and benefits to staff. The educational skill, the experience, how we are shifting them, how we are attaching some other benefits like car, like house, like loans, and so many other things that could be beneficiary to to the staff, like hospital issues, that is health, and so many other things that we could not mention. So it is the work of this unit to look critically into those things and see what they can do. Now, another thing that is very essential is that as we are developing the staff, as we are giving them more training educationally and otherwise, what are the things that we can do to also retain them? Because as we are developing them, they're having more certificates, and they felt that, oh, if I go to another organization, I could earn more, and so many other things like that. So it is the work of the human resources unit or department to liaise with the management of the organization to look into all these areas, so that we don't just develop staffs and they end up leaving our organization to go and use those skills in another organization or serve another organization. So another thing is ensuring that our staffs or employees are complying with regulations. Some people, they don't really want to comply with regulations. Even when there is protocol, even when there is hierarchy, some people deem it felt that, oh, I am the friend of the senior manager. Why can't I go and talk directly with the senior manager instead of reporting to my direct boss, and some other things like that? So it is our duty to ensure that they constantly fit into what the regulation is talking about, what the policy is talking about, and leave the issue of friendship or relationship and stick to what the organization regulation is talking about so that we can maintain peace and order within the organization. Now, the last but not the least of this responsibility include maintaining safety. We should ensure that the safety of the workers is very, very paramount to us as a human resources management unit or department. So what are the things that we put in place to ensure that there are safety gadgets, we comply with the state, with the local government, with the federal government safety measures, and then we put all these safety measures in place. Not that they will ask us to go and buy carbon dioxide, then we go and buy the after use England one and paint it and bring it to the organization and hang it for them. So we should ensure that all those things are put in place so that we have a very perfect and robust department which we can be proud of. So uh, in our class, these are all the things that we are expected to talk about. Then we also talk about the behavioral theories, the theory X, the theory Y, the theory Z, and so many other theories that has to do with behavior. So that we will look at why some people are doing some things and why they should not. We also look at some of these psychoanalytic theory because it's one of those theory that is very, very essential to the human resources department. By the time we know the differences of every individual, we know how to treat everybody and also know how to match people for a team and get a better result in future. So I will peg my introduction here, and then I will listen to us if we have any areas we want to contribute or we want to ask questions so that we can call it a day for today. Then I will be able to put up all our group assignments so that we can start the group work as soon as possible so that by the time we go into the third class, we will be able to do presentation of our group work. So thank you all for listening.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma.
Please, if you have any questions, you are very, very free to ask questions.
Hello, ma. I just want to confirm. Good afternoon, ma. I just want to confirm that is this all about the human resources management that we have to treat?
Before I started my class, I have given you the scheme of work. So we
Okay,
are
I'm just
on.
asking because in a summary,
We
everything
are
about.
just we are just doing a brief today. We have not entered the
Okay,
class fully.
okay, all right. Thank you, ma.
So any other question?
Yes, ma. Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon.
I don't know, ma. Are we going to have lecture material before the end of the semester, ma?
Yes. You're
Thank you,
supposed to
ma.
have gotten your lecture materials. If you have paid your school fees, they will give you your lecture material.
Okay, ma.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sama is my name. My
Mm,
my question is just about the question that was raised now. I'm a new student and I
okay.
haven't paid my school fee. I just pay my acceptance. So is it until I pay my school fee that will be given the course material?
Please negotiate with the course coordinator, not me.
Okay.
Ask Dayo about that.
Thank you.
Any other question, we can call it a day. Can we call it a day, please?
All right, ma'am.
Yes, ma.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
It's okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma.
We
Have a
appreciate
nice
you.
day.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank
Have
you.
a
God
nice
bless
You're
you.
day.
Have a
welcome.
nice day, ma.
Bye,
And you
ma.
too. Bye.
Bye, ma.
Bye bye.
All right, for those of us that didn't change our name, some devices are showing maybe Samsung or whatever. Please, I would advise that we change our name to the correct names so that in case of attendance, we can be able to script that out. Please, let it not be your device name that is showing. Let your real name be showing when you are on Zoom meeting so that when we take attendance, we can have your name there. Thank you.
Okay, sir. God bless you, sir.
Thank you.